Previously on Tales of the Free Folk, Carvette decided it was time. After a harrowing battle, undead foes, people in peril, women, children screaming, burning, avalanche, things had been stirred from his childhood that he had not allowed himself to think about in a long time. Carv decided it was time to revisit some old family connections. Unbeknownst to his party, he packed up his gear, head off for Othrakar. It was time to reconnect with the dwarves. As he was adventuring, doing his usual surveying the landscape, making sure that he was on course, navigating across country, he discovered what he thought were signs of another dwarven party. After spending a few hours tracking these dwarves, he discovered that in fact it was a dwarven party that was hopelessly lost. After some introductions, a little bit of tenuous negotiation, they discovered that they were all relatives and associates of Prathi Moonfist, who, if you may recall, was the individual that Carvette saved during the incident at Dresselbridge. More greetings were exchanged at this point, and it was discovered that this party was actually sent to meet with a dwarf by the name of Master Eldulf of the Moonfist clan, who has been working with the Rangers in some unknown location in this region. Carvette introduced himself to the leader of this party, Hogni Greenstone, who also had with him the brothers Otar and Muli. Carvette, not knowing where the Rangers were, but also realizing that these dwarves were more at home in a mine than the forest, he volunteered to help them get themselves to this Ranger location wherever it may be. And with that, Carvette and his new dwarven charges began trudging through the mountains.
Cool. Thanks. We'll sort of fade out on this picture of dwarves trekking to unknown destinations.
Ooh. Oh wait, it's a different genre. Sorry.
And we'll wipe back to Sarissa.
That's totally different.
This
Wait,
is more like hi
I was thinking hi ho.
Yeah.
Dig 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 dig.
Still haven't seen that. So we'll wipe and we see Sarissa with Andang, Pineleaf, and Clabber surrounded by a bunch of hooded rascals in the woods, armed to the teeth with bows, as she seems to be relating something to the leader of this expedition.
Yes, because we decided it's story time. So
Who
first
are
of
you
all,
and what are you doing here?
well, we've already had sort of kind of introductions, but let's do a formal round of introductions. This champion right here is Andang, who's previously trained with some ranger folks. Our friendly hobbit is Miss Pineleaf Needles, formerly of the Staddle Watch, and our Hillman friend is Clabber, who is of one of the apparently 7 clans descended from the Aranak clan. And I am Sarissa. I am a scholar of history and lore.
Oh, you mean a bard?
Yes, and as part of that, I'm a scholar of history and lore. Andang and I have known each other for a while. We've traveled together. He helped me out of what could have been a serious situation when I was researching a story. And in our travels, we encountered an orc camp, which just happened to coincide with several orcs attacking Tresselbridge, which we actually didn't know about at the time that we were, Andang was slaughtering orcs, and I had his back, more or less. we noticed that Trestle Bridge had also been under attack, so we made our way into the city to see if there was anything that we could do to assist. We were introduced to Pineleaf and her companions, who included a dwarf and an elf who, for some reason, are no longer with us. Not quite sure why. We did look for them before we left, right?
Yeah,
Anyway.
totally.
Anyway, the mayor of Trestlebridge asked us to investigate the source of some smoke that they could see coming from a valley that was fairly near to Trestlebridge. So we offered, of course, to go to assist the townsfolk since they were still rebuilding town and recovering from what had been a fairly nasty battle.
I know.
And
I was in it.
when we explored the valley that the smoke was coming from, we found a group of men seated around a fire, and Clabber was one of this group. They were from the Aranak clan, except for Clabber's actually from a different clan. But they were, apparently their people had originally been from this valley, and they had to flee because the orcs had invaded. Who knew? Orcs. So we offered to help them investigate because we were trying to check out their story and see if it actually meshed with the evidence. Turns out that evidence actually supported that there had been hillmen in the area before, possibly their clan. While we were undertaking this investigation, we were attacked by a group of thugs who told us under duress that they had been hired by somebody who paid them to slaughter these poor hillmen for reasons they couldn't ever really actually give us, just because they had been paid really well. So we offered to protect them on their way back to their people, and discovered that their entire tribe had been relocated to some caverns that were never fully explored. And while we were meeting with their elders, we also met with a lore master who was somewhat less than helpful. And probably not entirely sane. One of their scouts reported sightings of a campfire off in the distance. So after we took our leave of the elders, some of us took it upon ourselves to go scout this campfire, which was way less conveniently placed than I thought it was going to be. We had to go through a marsh and almost fell down a cliff. And it turned out that the campfire apparently was several campfires that was the camp of another tribe of hillmen that had actually been slaughtered shortly before we got there, which was really unsettling and unfortunate. But we were able to discover that their clan symbol was left intact on a couple of pieces of gear. So we took it back to the caverns and conferred with the elders. And before we could actually have a meeting with the elders, the cavern settlement was actually attacked by a third tribe who was apparently allied with the person who hired the guys that were trying to kill them way back when we were in the valley. And after all of that settled, we discovered that Clabber belongs to a different tribe, and we're trying to assemble them all together so that we can get an agreement among these tribes to come help the good guys against the orcs and other nasties. So we're on our way to help get Clabber back to his people. And then we ran into you, who, you know, really shouldn't be trying to shoot on first sight. That's really not nice.
You'll have to excuse Guyland. He doesn't get out much. So what you're saying is you've been through a lot.
That's the short end of it. Yes.
Yeah, actually, because it's only been like 4 days since we left Trestlebridge.
You must truly be a scholar of history. I can tell by your attention to detail. Well, please, have a seat. You'll have to excuse the cautious attitude of some of my men. We are currently in pursuit of some of these hillmen. they've been raiding some of the farms and setting fire to anything that they could find. Sounds like you might have run into them too.
It could be that they were one of the tribes that was involved in the attack on the caverns, in which case you probably don't have to worry about them anymore, because I'm pretty sure that most of those guys ended up dead.
Interesting.
But
I'll
what
have
if
to
they
include
only
that.
sent a fraction out?
Unless they're stragglers that, ran away from battle rather than get slaughtered.
Well, please have a seat. Have some refreshments.
Certainly.
This is no time for us to be turning on our friends. Allow me to introduce myself. I couldn't get a word in earlier. My name is Arahan, and I'm in charge of this expedition. We're patrolling these woods here. Guyland's party was scouting ahead, making sure that they could pick up the tracks of this tribe of hillmen that we were looking for. The rest of us have been getting mixed signals. We think there's a lot more going on than we had bargained for. We are the East Watch. Our task is to patrol these forests, and so as soon as you entered, let's face it, not much enters the forest these days. As soon as you entered, we knew of it. We're just investigating, doing our job. As soon as you're done here, you can continue on your way. We have other matters that are requiring our attention. You can vouch for this hillman, yes?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you seem reputable enough, and there's a lot going on. Is there an inside joke that I'm not aware of?
Nope.
No, sir. So
Sorry.
feel
that was
free
out of
not to
character
share this
laughter.
if it is classified, but what are you guys doing out here?
As I said, we patrol these woods. Lately, we've had a lot of reports of the hillmen setting fire to the farms, and so we're keeping watch for them. Also, as your friend, the scholar, has mentioned, there has been a lot of orc and goblin activity lately, and we're trying to monitor that. Except I'm embarrassed to admit it, but we lost their trail, and we have a group out trying to pick it up again. We're a relatively small outfit. I keep asking the taskmaster to give us more men, but what can I say? The economy these days. People have to stay, make sure that the food stores don't run out, make sure that everything stays repaired and well equipped, make sure that our main camp stays hidden.
Very true.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to put a skirmish camp outside if there were anything like that.
Yeah, would never want to do that.
Noted. I'll have to include that in my report.
Oh.
That's the
Okay.
best.
Is there any way which we can help speed you along, get you out of our forest?
Your forest?
The forest that we're patrolling.
We could use some
A choice of semantics.
provisions if you can spare them.
We ourselves don't have much to spare. We're a fairly mobile outfit. We stopped to have a midday meal. You're welcome to join in the meal, but I'm not sure we can actually provide much rations. I'll see what our quartermaster can whip up.
Thank you.
We travel lightly.
I guess after this exchange, someone else, not part of the group that brought you in, but someone else from this larger camp that you've come across, runs up to Arahan and whispers something in his ear. And he nods, faces granite the whole time. And then he looks up at you again and says, I'm sorry, something has come up. I'll have to talk to you later, but please, leave whenever you'd like, have as much as you'd like right now. Just try not to get in the way of some of the men. They're a bit touchy right now.
Right.
And then he hurries off at a brisk pace behind this messenger. Guyland from behind you, like the Rangers are sort of filtering away, going about the camp since nothing's really happening right now. Guyland, as he passes by, says, I still have my eye on you. Don't try any funny business. I'll know about it.
Right.
So, Pineleaf, you checked on Carve right before we left, right?
I can't remember. I'm sorry, the player can't remember what we
You
did.
didn't.
We were just shoved out the door without
Yeah,
any
nobody,
reason.
nobody checked on Carve or May.
Sarissa, you checked on Carve, right?
I didn't have the opportunity to check on Carve.
Right. Well, I'm sure he's fine.
I think just as you say that, you start hearing the sounds of commotion from like the other end of the camp where Arhan has just gone off to. Yeah, there's like a little bit of shouting. Not like it's not a fight. You don't hear the sounds of weapons, and it's not like loud shouting. But there's some sort of heated argument that's going on. Words are being exchanged, if you will.
Which way do we need to be going, do we think?
To
To continue on our trail if we wanted to do that.
So you're at like the eastern edge of the camp. Like that's where you were brought in. So all of these noises are coming from probably like the northwest end of the camp.
So the direction we need to go anyway. Or
Aren't
no,
we supposed to be
the
going?
opposite way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were on your way, and then you were brought back to the camp.
Right. Got it. Well, I'm just going to continue my meal.
Okay.
All right. Let's see how good a meal I make.
Okay.
All right, Pine.
Nice. It's delicious. The ranger fare is plain and very, they're basically military rations. It's not meant to taste good, but working your hobbit magic. I think some of the other rangers sitting around, like giving you wary looks, are starting to smell the delicious. What did you make? What exactly did you make? There would be meat rations. There'd be some fruits. There would be bread. Whatever you need. But what kind of meal did you make?
Let's see. I probably had to go into my spice inventory to get the meat rations to be a little more palatable.
Oh yeah, it's like almost jerky consistency.
Yeah, it's tricky turning jerky into a good stew, isn't it? And
Just add water.
right, just add water, probably some spices that I brought along with me, some water, and of course, let's see. Trying to think if
like a secret ingredient blend.
Yeah,
Is that what you're using all this time?
11 herbs and spices
Yeah.
smuggled in from the Shire.
Special
Some-
blend.
Some pine needles just sprinkled on top.
Yes, pine needles.
Good. So, like, I guess as you're eating, if you're paying attention to the corners of your eye and the main center, the hub of the camp, there's four dwarves who have been blindfolded and sort of marched in a straight line. Sorry, not four dwarves, five dwarves. One of them has a familiar build about him, and
Oh no wonder they're
two of them.
Well, it looks like that they don't treat all the races equally, apparently. But man, Pineleaf, this is some really good meal here, I have to admit.
Thank you.
From the dwarves, the two in the back, they seem to be younger and more hot-headed, and they're the ones who are like not cursing out, but they're like demanding to be released. They demand to face their captors. There's an older dwarf who's in the very front. He seems to be trying to calm them down. He wants to talk,
I am
but-
totally going to go poke my nose in over there.
Okay.
Andang's just enjoying his meal, oblivious to the
Yeah,
world.
it's fine.
I mean, so you can see what's going on. It's just, you may not hear all the details of what's happening.
I like to think that Andang has his back turned to that direction, even just like he has absolutely no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll leave him by the fire.
So as you approach this commotion, Arahan is removing the blindfold from the leader dwarf. Also, like, they're not tied up or anything. It was sort of a forced blindfolded march. And they're trying to remove the blindfolds now. Ironically, the two in the back who are demanding to have their blindfolds removed are causing such a fuss
That they can't have their blindfolds removed?
Yeah, exactly.
That's very dwarven.
Typical.
And so as the second dwarf's blindfold is
Blindfolded
removed,
dwarves? That takes some serious balls.
Yeah. These aren't
Um,
NPC rangers, that's for sure.
worse, they're GM rangers. But yeah, as the second dwarf's blindfold is removed, Carve, your eyes are suddenly, you're blinking as the midday sunlight is filtering through the trees. The blindfold was a little tight, but you knew that when the rangers told you that they were going to blindfold you when they took you to their secret camp. Alas, poor Otar and Uli, the Moonfist brothers, didn't seem to understand.
I could have found the camp with my eyes closed anyway. I know which way we came. I have an innate sense of direction. I know exactly where they were when they picked us up, and I know exactly where we are now. Blindfolding didn't matter. I won't tell them that. This is my internal monologue.
I see. So Arahan introduces himself to you and the elder dwarf. He says, "Hello, my name is Arahan. Who are you and what are you doing here?"
What is your name?
What is your quest?
So the elder dwarf, not elder dwarf. His hair hasn't turned gray yet. He's not that old, but he's the leader of your expedition. This is Hogni Greenstone, and he says, "My name is Hogni Greenstone. I was sent from the Miners Guild to find Master Aldulf. I understand he's working with you." And then he sort of pauses. "You are the Rangers of the North, yes?" And Arahan says, "Yes, we are the Rangers. We're the Rangers of the East Watch. Subgroup of the Rangers of the North." But that still doesn't explain what brings you out here.
He just told you he's looking for a dwarf that he thinks is with you guys. And
Carver's
there are no
standing
dwarves
with
here.
his arms
Also,
crossed,
hi,
kind of
Carv.
watching it, going, I have nothing to say. I was escorting these dwarves because they were lost to find you, and, well, we found you.
There are no dwarves here.
Master Greenstone has the particulars.
I'm afraid I'm not allowed to divulge the message to anyone except Master Aldulf.
Well, he's the one we're trying to find.
If Master Aldulf is not here, would you happen to know where he is? And then we'll be on our way. Plainly, we cannot betray your location if that's what you're afraid of, thanks to the blindfolds. There's a stray shout from one of the younger dwarves. "Yeah, take off our blindfolds."
I'll walk over and I'll talk to the younger guys like, "Listen, fellas, calm it down. We'll be out of here soon enough if you don't get too hot-headed." And then I'll reach up and hand to him.
Arahan turns to Sarissa. "You know these dwarves?"
Well, I don't know all of the dwarves, but I know this dwarf. This is Carvette, Log Splitter. He was with us after we left Trestlebridge.
Ah, yes, the dwarf that you weren't sure where he is.
Yes.
And now you know where he is.
And now I know where.
I just wave.
A lot of misplaced dwarves in this story. Anyway.
We're having far too many visitors here for my comfort. I think it's about time we packed up the camp and moved on.
The Rangers, you might want to be a little more careful about your fires, too.
You saw our fires?
Aye.
Are you sure they were our fires? We happen to be tracking a group of people who've been setting fire to everything.
Fire is generally visible to other people.
Well,
You know that, right?
the folks you were tracking, are they humanoid? Basically
Yes.
man-sized?
These are the Hillmen, yes.
Also, if you ever make a campfire, it shows up on the minimap, just so that you know.
We are trained in ancient arts from Ranger lore, which allows us to make super stealthy campfires.
I'm sure.
Well, there was a group of hillmen that were setting fire to everything that ransacked that cave we were in not too long ago, but they're pretty much dead now.
That's what I said.
Interesting. Their story seems to be cross-validated. Maybe they're telling the truth after all.
And they weren't just so much setting things on fire, so much as they were on fire, which was creepy.
Yeah,
And
like,
when
no.
I reach creepy, I reach for me axe. And then it's not so creepy when they're dead.
I'm sure that some people might disagree with that sentiment, but you said they were setting themselves on fire.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Did
was
they-
extremely disturbing. I left that part out because it was really disturbing.
Do they seem to be under the influence of any medicinal herbs?
Hard to
I don't
tell.
know what
We
they
didn't
were
exactly
under.
leave any of them alive to
I
question.
know that it made the hairs on the back of my head stand up. And when that lady started with her glowy eye routine, I said, we're not having any of that. She might have had some kind of creepy beyond the grave powers, but didn't stop my arrow.
No, it did not.
No better, hashtag.
Arhan's composure kind of breaks down, and then he resumes his composure and says, "I really don't want to ask, but it needs to go in my report. What lady with glowy eyes is this?"
We
Didn't
didn't
she have a
exactly get a
name?
name.
She had a name. It was
I'm
like
sure she had one. We
the
just didn't
arrow
exactly
or
get
the
a chance to ask her what it was.
or the raptor, some kind of bird of prey, wasn't it? Do you
Their
remember?
characters don't know.
Yeah, we as characters didn't ever actually ask her what her name was. We just shot her. You guys shot her. I had
She
nothing
had like
to do
an
with that
arrow,
one.
didn't she? Like there was some kind of feather, or was that player knowledge or was that character knowledge? We kept being told to wear the falcon or something.
Oh, okay, yeah, you were told to beware the falcon.
Yeah. So I just kind of assumed she was the falcon because
okay.
she had like feathers in her hair, and she was like creepy with the whole glowy eyes thing. And Carvet has a real bone to pick against undead. So as soon as it got freaky, he was like, "Nope, wang."
And
And he
now
was
she-
already kind of on edge about the whole burning fire, glazed look thing. So he's like, nope. There's a whole lot of nope here.
Well, again, you are welcome to join in the hospitality of our camp. We may blindfold you as we move so that you don't know which direction we're going, or we may have you move first. I have yet to decide that. I'm going to work on my report for now. I'll let you know when we're leaving. And he just turns and just walks away, this head shaking, and he goes to like a small portable tent. The other rangers, there's like 1.5 dozen of them, and they're sort of like they've sort of surrounded all of the strangers to their camp, but they're trying to make it look like they're not surrounding you. They're just going about eating or maybe like sharpening blades, whittling, trying to look casual. But there's definitely an air of tension.
Look casual, but try not to look too casual. I don't know. Sharpen casually.
They're whistling as
They're whistling as they sharpen.
all of
Whistling
them
as they
off
work.
key to different tunes.
Yeah. Wonderful. Rangers acting casual.
And Ranger off tune is probably really off tune too. So,
These Dunedain.
So the younger dwarves have had their blindfolds removed by Hovni and Hrathi, and so they're basically like loudly complaining as they sort of sit down and start acquiring rations for themselves to consume.
Dwarves.
Carve, do you join them or do you catch up with your original party? Or your next generation of the original party?
I think I'll kind of go over to Hrathi and say, I guess I should check in with these other folks to see what they're up to. And then I'll kind of saunter over to Pine Leaf and give kind of a cursory nod to Andang and say, so, it's an odd twist of fate that brings us to this particular place together. It's like
almost as if it were meant to be, Carl.
No, it's like fate. Like some kind of fated system. That
Yeah,
brought us
just a
together.
system of fate, if you will. Yes.
So, how did you find yourselves here?
It sounds like pretty much the same way you did.
Well, to be perfectly frank, I was leaving this entire area. I was heading to Othrakar. I was basically looking to rejoin Dwarven kin because it's been a long time. The events of that last battle touched some things in me that needed to be addressed. But on the way, I discovered that I ran across some tracks of some dwarves that looked like they got lost. Sure enough, they were lost. So, finding my colleague Hrathi Moonfist was amongst the party. After some introductions, we decided that it might be better if I helped them a little bit before I headed back into Dwarvendom. So we set off. And then we were bewildered by Rangers. And so we are now here.
Well,
How'd you
we're trying to
find
help.
yourselves here?
Yeah, we're trying to help this guy who just uses hand gestures mostly, but he does know
But
the
you
word
remember
okay.
Clabber, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cyber waves at you.
I waved back.
Turns out he could possibly be some sort of royalty in the clans. So we're trying to get him back home so we can figure out what exactly is going on.
Wouldn't that just be a twist of fate?
Indeed, it would.
I think I know what the show title is.
Best of luck to you on that. So where exactly are you going?
We're not sure. To the east somewhere.
To the east. Okay.
Supposedly over some mountains.
You're not going over the river through the woods to some old lady's house, are you?
Not last time I checked. If we are, I think we're probably really lost.
So
That's different from.
Corvette thoughtfully strokes his beard. Can you tell me anything more? I might be able to point out some landmarks at least.
Well, we don't have a map. And Master Gerald was, less than forthcoming about where exactly we should go.
Gerald. That's all I'll say about that. So just to the east?
Yeah, that's basically all the direction we were given.
But Pineleaf almost died.
Eriador is a big place. To the east lies the Misty Mountains, Moria. Further east, you enter the lands of the Horse Lords. Further east into the south, you end up in Gondor. To the north of that, you find Mirkwood, the Gladden Fields. There's a lot of territory.
Yeah. I was giving him that it was beyond the Misties or around the Misties, beyond the Misties, somewhere around the
Beyond the Misties, I think.
around the Great River area.
They
In
did
the-
say that it was near a great river, yes.
Well, I think it said something about the old land of the fish folk or something like that.
He said of the shoeless dwarves. Yes, I
The
remember
shoeless,
that.
right?
Mhm.
The shoeless dwarves, which I believe they're talking about the ancient land of the hobbits, which was out around the Great River.
Who can keep track?
That's a long journey. You've got to make it through the barren wastes of the Lone Lands, which are to the south and east of here. Journey through the wastes of the Trollshaws. If you're lucky, you can make it across the Misties, or you can head south and try to make for the Gap of Rohan, but then you still have to come back
Well,
north.
it would be an easier journey if our dwarf hadn't decided to go wandering.
You didn't get my note.
No.
Oh, of
You
course.
forgot to write it.
No, I gave it to Master Jared.
Oh, well, that
Oh.
would be why we didn't get it.
Hey, for all we know, he told you and you just weren't paying attention.
This is true. At least for Anding.
Seems like it's a long journey.
Indeed, but we got hand gestures, so it'll be fine.
All right then.
Clever gives you like an okay.
Okay.
And we have okay.
That's a start.
Could be worse.
It could be.
Clapper actually probably goes over, offers you some of his like a cooked bread concoction with maybe like a side of the pine leaf altered ration meat.
He's offering to carve.
Since
Okay.
you just walked over.
All right. Well, I'll give him an okay gesture back. I'll kind of sniff it, and I'll, have some.
What are your thoughts on pine leaf's cooking?
As fine as any hobbit camp can be, with ranger dried jerky ration. Hobbit blessed jerky stew.
I think actually now that you mention it, I think I guess after your exchange, Mooley, one of the dwarves, sort of saunters over. Excuse me, what is that delicious aroma I smell?
That, my friend, is legendary cooking of the Shire, transplanted into Staddle.
I'm not sure about Staddle, but definitely reminds me of the Shire. Oh, this is a halfling. Hello, halfling.
Hobbits.
Hobbit?
Hobbits.
Tiny.
Is that what they call
server.
themselves?
Yes, they're hobbits, the hobbits, the hobbits, the hobbits, not the halflings.
Well,
See. My apologies then. I am Mooley Moonfist. I was traveling with your friend here. Might I sample some of that meat?
very well. Here.
Thank you. I don't suppose you'd have anything from the Green Dragon to go with it?
Well, I am from Staddle, which is closer to Bree. So I
Oh,
don't get
I see.
the Green Dragon. I've heard of it, but I've never been that far west.
Mooley, wouldn't you know it? I had a cask of Green Dragon ale, but I left it in my other satchel.
Oh,
Oh, believe me,
That'd
I
be
know
the
feeling,
one that I
Carl.
left
So did
back
I.
in
I have been to the
Bree
pony, though.
months ago when I was arrested for getting in a fight with that blacksmith. And it wasn't really a fight, it was more of a heated argument.
Well, this is really good. Reminds me of back before I left to join the Miners Guild at Othricar. I used to go and sample the food and the ale of the Shire.
You'd think the Miners Guild would hire a Hobbit chef, that's just like on the roster of things for the budget, but yeah.
Well,
It's harder to
aside
find them up here.
Aside from Mrs. Pineleaf, I don't know of too many Shire folk that go abroad. It's not like this is habitual for the hobbits.
Well, from what
Like
I
in some
heard, it
video
wasn't
game.
actually by the Hobbit's choice.
Yeah, kidnapping hobbits happens every now and then, and sometimes you just get good food out of it.
That's what I like. The one character here who knows the story of Pineleaf's kidnapping and was there for it is the one who's referring to it as, I don't know why she's ranging so far afield.
Basically, I'm making some generalizations about hobbits as a whole, and Pineleaf is definitely atypical in that manner. So I'm not like making any kind of generalization about being responsible for said deal. I wasn't a part of that. I wasn't the one who put her in a bag. I thought it was a bad idea. I was against it from the beginning.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
The Mooley is like, hey, Otar, come over here. This is delicious. And
I hope
See what
you
you've
have
done,
some more.
finally.
Those boys have a healthy appetite.
I think I think I'm gonna run out of food very quickly. I'm gonna have to go out and try to collect some more herbs and spices.
There's probably some growing nearby.
Man, I don't have any kind of like gathering. Can I use my perception to try and see if there were any like in the immediate vicinity so I can help replenish Pineleaf's supply?
Sure. I'm going to beat it too. No.
Nope. I can't see anything right now.
You're still maybe adjusting from the forced march with blindfolds.
And the smell of the food is probably overwhelming the senses for a dwarf.
Well, that and everything that's within immediate sight is trampled by ranger boots
Well,
and dwarven boots and champion boots and bard boots. And...
No.
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 Sarissa taught
also-
me how to walk.
No, Andang
I think-
leaves boot prints all over the place. Sarissa, however, no footprints.
I think your dwarven. Well, actually, give me a navigation roll, Carve. Actually, difficulty to beat is 2. Oh, okay. So yeah, you have like a tickling sensation in the back of your mind that the march is a lot longer. Like it took a lot of time and you traveled a lot greater distance than you feel you've actually traveled.
Mhm.
But you were it was sufficiently long enough that without being able to check in constantly with your senses efficiently,
Mhm.
it's muddled whether you can make an accurate judgment of that or not.
All right.
So yeah, Mooley and Otar are eating. They're probably like trying to ask Clabber questions, and he's either just like shrugging and or like he'll start talking, realize that they're not gonna understand what he says, and then
Doing
goes
the
back
thumbs
to
up. Okay.
yeah.
You wasted your time, lads. He speaks some kind of Hillman dialect that we haven't figured it out yet.
Working on it.
Yeah, it'll take Sarissa a couple more hours.
Yeah, so there's now a ranger who's sort of like moseying over to the group. And he's sort of, there's like a hood obscuring his features. He's not carrying any weapons. He has like a knife in one hand and like some carving that he's been working on whittling in the other. And like it's not held menacingly, but he's just sort of like looking over. He seems to be like trying to peer around the dwarves and get a look at the others in the group. Meanwhile, I think like loud laughter comes from Hrothi and Hogni at the other fire nearby.
Do we see this ranger guy kind of looking around, trying to check out
Oh, yeah.
everybody?
I mean, like there's no cover. Like you can see him.
I'll look at him and say, "Why don't you draw a sketch? It'll last longer."
My apologies. I think I recognize one of you.
Oh, do tell.
Is that you, Andang?
Maybe. Who are you?
That's ending. Carmen just does a big guffaw.
Yes, I do think. Surely you remember me. It's Torthon.
Oh, Torthan. You're the guy I know.
Yes.
Is this the ranger you've been touting about this whole time?
Yeah. We go way back. We were actually investigating the Chetwood bandits together.
Oh, those Chetwood bandits. They
Good
put up a
grief.
struggle, but I'm glad we finally cleared the forest of them.
Indeed. And Arch, it's just so safe. Nothing will ever bad happen to it.
Wait a minute. I thought I heard that it burnt down to the ground.
What?
What?
Yeah, the Black Wolves from the Chetwood.
What?
Boy,
They must have come back.
is clutching his sides, laughing. Like, truly, Endang, you are a warrior of some merit.
I was just over there. Aragorn must have left that out when he was briefing me. Do you mean the Black Wolves and the Chetwood bandits? Were those the same thing?
That I don't know because I was down in Stattle, but I've been hearing a lot of bad rumors from it. We've been trying to keep a close watch from any brigands coming into our area, but I ran mostly into goblins instead. And spiders.
This is what happens when they sent all of us up here. We're leaving Bree undefended. Actually, not completely undefended. You'll be happy to know, Andang, that your old mentor is still keeping watch on the town.
Ah, that's good.
Old Amlan.
Was he the guy in the
Oh,
cabin just
who?
north of Bree?
Don't worry, Pineleaf. It's all in my
Okay,
character
okay.
bio. You'll find
Okay,
out about it
wasn't
later.
Toradin then, alright?
No, there was another ranger.
Oh,
Toradin.
okay. I heard that some ranger killed Toradin or something like that. Went mad.
Toradan's dead. Renioland, dead. Mundo, dead. That's why I was kind of glad that they sent me up here. Get away from all of that nonsense.
So was it that fella, Saradan? The guy who was in the cabin north of Bree?
Saradan, I believe, is still in his cabin.
He had a goatee that was ahead of his time.
Yes, he did. I believe he's still working on it.
Quite peculiar, but
I wonder
was
when he's going
near-
to start teaching you tricks.
I'll tell you what, he was trying for something of dwarven majesty. He's just not a dwarf.
Andang is so taken back by finding out that those rangers are gone that he tries to ask as quickly as possible to get a word in. How did this happen?
Well, something that's clearly it's never been heard of before. So I'm not sure if you've heard. It all started when, and he sort of looks hesitantly at everyone else except Andang, and then his focus goes back to you. Some riders, some special riders, arrived in Bree one night. There was a lot of stuff happened that night. It's almost as if fate was intervening. There was a jailbreak, and then these riders came in, and we had some strange visitors to town that day too. I don't know how much of this was related and how much wasn't, but the short of it is, one of them wound up stabbing Amdir with a Morgul blade. And I'm afraid that everything that we were taught about those was absolutely true.
Wow.
We tried to stop him. We tried to reason with him. We tried to win him back, but ultimately, we had to put him down.
I'm sorry to hear that.
We lost a lot of good men in the Bree region. But after the brigands started inexplicably attacking each other, first there was a lot of chaos, but then there was a lot of order, since the brigands basically thinned each other's ranks. So some of us were summoned to come up here for the war effort. I don't know where the others are. I think they went patrolling towards the lake region. The City of Kings.
Oh, yeah. Amalan used to tell me rumors of that place.
It's a sight to behold. I saw it once.
Hmm.
Well, from a distance. Well, okay, it was a picture.
Ancient
But it
or
was-
modern?
Oh, modern. It was Garthadir himself who drew a sketch of the place. He was trying to recruit us.
Ah, you're missing out, lad. I have seen this city from the top of a hill. Fine architecture, be it not Dwarven, though. Didn't stay long.
They just they don't make ruins like they used to.
Something about Numenorian craftsmanship. It's not Dwarven, but it is quite lovely stonework.
Where have you been?
Where haven't I been is the question.
Not you, Andy.
At
Well-
that point, I just kind of snuff and I kind of walk over to Hogni and Prathy.
I decided, as you recall, it was time for me to go out and start my own adventuring. And eventually I met this minstrel over here, and we've been kind of adventuring ever since.
According to Arakon's report, you're a scholar. Are you also a minstrel?
Well, yes, obviously I am a student of lore and history in my pursuit of being a minstrel.
Ah. I believe you're what people back in the day would have called a true Harlond Renaissance person.
It's a
It's an
very
old
obscure reference.
Harland Renaissance.
So you seem to have a group. You seem to be doing well for yourselves.
Relatively, yeah.
Something troubling you?
There's just been a lot that's gone wrong over the last few days, as you probably know from the report.
Mm-hmm. Hillman. That's been a problem since before I came up here. I don't know what your experience with them has been like. Did you have an encounter with them?
We were somewhat friendly with the group, and we're trying to help them out, and they got attacked and lost a lot of good people that day.
That is interesting. Well, this has been the Krita tribe, by any chance.
I don't know.
I remember that Moondal was trying to make contact with the tribe in the Weather Hills.
The Kree of the tribe was the tribe that we found massacred. Right?
Yeah. Oh, are you saying that in character?
Well, the last bit that right, I was checking with you. But yeah,
Okay.
the other stuff I was saying in character.
Okay, right, yeah. Yes, that's the tribe that you found massacred.
Because hello, student of scholar and history here.
Nordic knowledge.
Oh, okay, but you don't actually say that out loud. That
Huh?
do you actually say out loud that that's the tribe that you found massacred? Or-
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow. Massacred. Do you know by whom?
Did we get the name of that tribe? I don't remember.
I think we did.
Well, I thought it was the crazy lady, wasn't it?
Well, and the other tribe that was with her, but I don't.
The tribe
remember
is the
which-
Losgod tribe.
Yeah, the
wrote
Losgod
that
tribe
down
is
somewhere.
the tribe that attacked them. They're the ones that were burning everything and setting themselves on fire,
Ah.
and they're mostly dead too.
So you've come looking for them too. Did you tell
Oh.
Arahan that? Perhaps you can join our little scouting arrangement.
No,
have
we
here.
already killed a bunch of them.
Oh, you killed them.
Well, they attacked the group that we were with, the Aranak clan.
All of these names are getting confusing.
Welcome to my world.
So, So you're not here to help with the Hillman problem then? Are you here to help with the Goblin problem?
Actually, we are helping one of the Hillmen from a different tribe.
Plainleaf,
to
did you
get back
hear
to
that
his
they have a
people.
goblin problem?
What?
Always a goblin problem. Goblins are always a problem.
Yes, they've been encroaching. I believe they're coming from the north, but we don't have any hard evidence of that yet.
Well, we'll have to deal with that.
Somewhere to the south or the east, we'd encountered a party, but unfortunately, Gylant's group is shoot
North,
first, ask
south,
questions later.
They're everywhere?
Yeah,
Yes,
we met Guyland's group. We're familiar with that shoot first, ask questions later attitude.
Before Mincom went crazy, he had this idea that they were setting up a siege camp somewhere. He's the only one among us who can actually read their language, and there seem to be orders of starting a war on Trestlebridge, but that was just the first step, apparently. And, well,
Oh, we thwarted that too.
you certainly have been busy, Andang.
Indeed, yeah. What have you been doing?
I came out here to give life with my buddies in the woods.
Patrolling, keeping watch, following Guylant around, cleaning up after his messes.
That sounds like a really big job. I don't envy you that.
Well, we could use help of a ranger if you were interested in helping us on our journey.
I'll think about it. There's really nothing keeping me with the Eastwatch in particular. I was more assigned to Estildine, but it's boring up there. That's the trouble with having a hidden hideout, I guess. It's hidden.
Indeed, yeah.
Did you just tell us where your hidden hideout is?
Why you give us a name?
Good luck finding it on a map, though.
I don't need to find it on a map. I have a dwarf who knows how to navigate.
Sarissa, what are you doing? Just let me handle this.
Now we're in trouble.
Hey, I personally have no problem if you come find it. If Anding's vouching for you, that's good enough for me. But Arahan would probably have an issue if you tried following us without his permission. And I'm sure even with his permission, Guyland might take issue to that. He doesn't seem to care to outsiders, as I'm sure you've
we noticed.
experienced.
Yes.
I'm gonna say, Corbett heard dwarf that can navigate over the din. He's like, "Hey, what? You have me, do you?"
I shall consider your offer.
Very well.
We'll check back whenever you're ready to leave. I'm gonna go see if I can't find the bowyer, and I have a bone to pick with him. I'll catch up with you later.
Yes.
Make sure to say goodbye before you leave.
Of course, yeah. You would never want to leave without, telling your mother or something. So yeah, definitely tell your friends too.
I don't know if you're trying to guilt trip me or not like you used to.
Yes, well, we had
Just
a lot
like
of good
old
times back in the day.
So he punches you playfully in the shoulder, and then
I punched
turns
back
and walks
twice as
back.
hard. Still playfully.
You're getting better at that.
Learn from the best.
So Carve, you're with Hrothi and Hogni.
Yes.
Had you asked anything? When you come upon them, they're mostly just making small talk about mine work. The newest load that they'd uncovered back in Othrikar.
Fantastic. Where is Master Aldith supposed to be working?
All I know is some rangers requested some assistance with construction job, and Master Aldulf took a few dwarves from Othrikar, and they left with the rangers. I don't believe they were blindfolded like we were, but we didn't go very far with them. This was years ago. I have no idea where they are now. We were recently told to, well, I have a message to deliver to him. And I'm afraid even Hrothi here isn't privy to that information.
Well, based on what I'm hearing from the other group, the conversations, there's got to be another ranger encampment somewhere. This is far too temporary. There must be a more permanent somewhere, something.
Agreed.
And it could be too far from Othrikar.
If Master Aldulf was commissioned for construction work, well, you look around and these are just like tents and you're in the middle of the woods.
Got to be stone somewhere.
They certainly didn't stop here.
I'll go see what more information I can find, because I feel like our paths may be aligned for a time.
That's good to hear. And then Hrothi says, "Are you leaving, or did you just?"
What I'll do is I'll saunter back over and hear more of the conversation, because that conversation with the dwarves only took a few minutes, and so I'll go back over while he's chatting with Endang and whatnot. And I hear the name S still didn't drop, and so I kind of get an idea that there's definitely a place that we should be able to find in the not too far reaches of this area.
Okay. Are you still, so when Torthon leaves, are you still with that group, or had you gone back to the dwarf?
No, I'm still kind of sitting there chatting with the party A,
Yeah.
as opposed to party D for dwarf.
Yeah, Muli and Otar have sort of they've finished by now, and they're asking if there's more. But apparently there's no more, so they've sauntered off to some other camp to look for more food.
Those young ones.
There's probably some murmur of disappointment that you can overhear from them, because it's nowhere near as good as what Pine Leaf has done with the food.
I'm amazed that the Rangers even shared more with them. I mean, but okay.
Well, they're under orders.
Ah, yes. The hospitality of the Dunedain.
So, do you all catch up, or?
Yeah, we need to decide what our plan is.
Well, it sounds to me like these dwarves need to find this ranger encampment, because that's the most logical place where Master Adolf is. Mr. Adolf.
Do you think that would be along the way, Carve?
To where you're going?
Yeah.
East. From where we are, I would venture to say it's east-ish. North and east. West. Could be south. I have a feeling that the camp of the Rangers would have a better idea about safe routes from between here and where you're going. Maybe some maps. But I would say it's probably more or less in the direction you guys need to go.
Well, when a ranger gives me a map, that'll be the day.
That's true. They don't tend to write things down.
Well, Pine Leaf, what do you think we should do? There's goblins to the north, Carve needs help to the east, and we need to go to the east.
We head east. We take care of any goblins we find along the way.
There you
Clear
go.
the misties of all the goblins there while we go and bring this guy to where we're supposed to take him.
Sounds good.
Wouldn't it be interesting if this Clabber fella doesn't have to go as far as you think he's got to go? I mean,
We don't
It
actually
takes-
know how far he has to go. We just know east.
Well, I mean, just thinking back on it, I don't know of too many Hillman tribes on the other side of the Misty Mountains. Mainly because the other side, you've got horsemen, you've got Gondorians, you've got Beornings who aren't particularly friendly with everybody. There's some significant goblin activity. There's the Elves of Mirkwood. I can't think of any tribes that would have been on the other side of the mountain. Now, granted, I don't know what this river is you're talking about, but it doesn't seem like it's quite that far.
Well, if that's the case, then we'll deal with this and learn what about it sooner.
There you go. Maybe one of the lore masters in the ranger camp can give us a better idea.
I get the impression they don't know much about Hillman lore. All they know about Hillman is they're at war with them.
You know who the foremost expert in Hillman lore is?
Master Gerald.
Exactly. Good luck with that one.
We can,
Endang, he seems
stop
to like you.
talking
we can go
about
back.
this.
We can go
Carve.
back.
No,
We can go back. I'm sure he would
Carve,
give you an
Carve.
in-depth dissertation
Carve,
as
Carve,
to
you know.
the direct genealogical descendants of every Hillman from
I'm
Egmar
starting to think that you might have set me up, Carve.
Lorenz. Oh. Oh. If I could have done a performance check to see if it's believable. Oh, and
I'm really starting to think that you set me up now, Carve. Carve, remember when you didn't trust us?
that's still pretty much the case.
Yeah. You mean right now?
Wasn't aware that situation had changed. Yeah.
Well, I
I
trusted
want to
you
say,
till this whole Gerald thing happened.
well, let's just say that it seems like my current charge is to find Master Adolf. Whether or not that's your goal, or whether Mr. Adolf is going to have any kind of information related to where your Hillman friend needs to go, where we've got to get, where Clabber needs to go, that is something entirely up to you guys. If our I can't even think of the word to say. If our interests align, so be it. If not, then, well, that's something too.
Well, it is along the way.
Split the party. Split the party. Split the party.
Says the GM who wants his brain to explode.
I kind of take the other two members that aren't Carve aside and ask them if we should go with
Wow.
Carve or not.
And Carve,
Huh. Well, you guys are doing a little huddle thing over there. So I'll go do my huddle thing with the dwarves over here. And, I mean, my thought, as not Carved, but as me, is that maybe you guys need more information as to where this guy might even need to go. And since
think?
rangers tend to have a little bit more know-how on who's doing what where, and would probably communicate with, since this is the East Guard, there might be a North Guard, South Guard, West Guard. Maybe somebody can say something and have more information. That's me thinking off the cuff here. So that would be my thought. That's a place
Yeah,
to find info.
That's what I think as well.
But
There's
that-
no guarantee that they're going to share that information with us, though.
No, but if it's along
we've
the
got
way,
Endang the Ranger.
if it's along the
He's
way,
He's got connections.
so
We've already seen how all that worked out.
very
Well,
well,
Name dropped Distilden. That worked.
it worked well.
Ish.
So now that we've kind of sort of decided this, I'm gonna go and try to find where Torthan is.
Well, I'm gonna head back over to the dwarves and say that there is possibility there's a large ranger encampment somewhere in the vicinity that we may be able to get more information about Master Adolf's
Aldolf.
Adolphus, his information, where his whereabouts might be. Adolf. See if we can find out where Adolf is.
It's Aldolf. For a while there, it sounded like you're saying Master Adolf.
It's not Master Adolf. It's Adolf. Aldolf. How is it?
Like owl.
Owl?
And then Dolph.
I don't have Twitter up, so I don't have his name right now in front of me. Anyway, the Dwarven Master, who's in charge of their expedition, he needs information, and I said I would help. And it seems to me logically a hub of ranger activity. While they're not exactly forthcoming, they're the last ones who saw the good dwarf leader guy, so maybe we should check out them.
So this is
Sure.
this
All
is you
dudes.
talking to Andang or to the dwarves about.
Dwarves.
Or do you say this? Okay. So then Hogni Greenstone then asks, do you think that they will let us follow them?
Well, whether or not they let us follow them, I don't think we'll have too much difficulty following them anyway.
Ah, you're saying this calls for subtlety and stealth.
Or at the very least, following them from a distance.
Karate
Masters of subtlety and stealth.
Karate like claps you on the back, like, I hope your tracking skills haven't decayed any since last time, have they?
No, sir.
Haha, good to hear. So Andang, you go in search of Torthan. He's in conversation with Arahan as you find him. Guylant is sort of sitting. You're having like a.
There we go. You were breaking up. Can you repeat that whole part again?
Am I cutting up?
Now you're back.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. What was the last thing I said?
Talking about how I was getting ready to go over and talk to them, and he was talking with Arohan.
Okay. So he's talking with Arahan, and Guylant is sitting nearby, just looking sullen. And as you approach, like the tone of their conversation is like one of those like a corporate argument. Like it's not heated, it's not shouting, it's just them like spitting like this must happen. No, but according to this must happen. But have you accounted for the possibility that this should happen? And that's the tone of their conversation.
I wait from a distance until they notice me, kind of a thing.
Okay. We'll see who notices you first.
Hey guys, it's me, Andang.
Oh yeah, like yeah, like how are you doing anything to get their attention, or are you just sort of?
No, I'm just patiently waiting for them to finish their meeting. I don't want to interrupt it.
Okay. So on a 3, I'm rolling 1d3. On a 3, it's Torthan. On a 1, it's Guylant. On a 2, it's Arahan.
I was thinking he was doing like man dance too.
There you go. So Torthan probably notices. Like, oh, Andang, over here.
Okay, I walk over and just wait for them to say what's next.
Yeah. So like Guylant just like he's like staring at you but doesn't say anything. Arahan says, Torthan tells me that you were training with the Rangers before.
Indeed.
Oh, we said that.
As you may recall,
Oh, he didn't believe you.
I was mentored by Amlan.
You could have given names earlier. It'd been easier to believe you, but that's neither here nor there. It is.
Yes,
it is not often.
It's such a ranger habit.
That bard has excellent
Very
ears.
true.
Is that scholar listening into this conversation
You felt that too, huh? Yeah, I don't know why.
from all the way over there?
Yeah, that's just kind of weird, isn't it?
In the
Fascinating.
distance, you hear Carve say, "Oi, she does that."
So apparently the rest of the party thinks Andang's mission is a joke, but anyway, let's continue along.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Let's be
Arahant,
fair. We don't think Andang's mission is a joke. We think Andang is a joke.
That's very true.
Arahant says that it is not often that members from outside of our people are. Torthan here tells me that considering, and, like Torthan starts like waving his hands, like making like gestures, but Arahant just pays no mind. Torthan tells me that with their training, they were actually considering offering the position of ranger to you as well. And then Torthan just like gives up. Sighs. We were going to tell you. Amlan and I were talking about it, and then you decided to leave.
well, yeah, he's just like a ranger.
That's the sound of Ending's heart dropping into his boots.
So you're telling me that you said goodbye without even letting me know that that was a possibility?
Well, you seemed pretty intent on leaving, and we're not sure why. So we didn't want to drop that extra bombshell on you at the time. Maybe we should have. I'm sorry.
It's fine. The reason that I came over here is I was wondering if we could have an escort to Esteldin.
Arahant, who told you about SLD? That was me. He's one of us. Well, as close as someone who isn't one of us can get to being one of us.
It seems the both of you are great at keeping secrets. Anyway. Our dwarf needs help finding more information about the lost member of his party, and we honestly need to know more information about the Hillman, and we were wondering if we could find more information at Esteldin.
Torthan turns back to Arahant and says, well, if they come back to Esteldin, that means I'm coming back to Esteldin.
Indeed it does.
Well, I'm trying to determine which will be the more lengthy report to file. The decision for letting you follow us back to our hidden fortress, or the decision to relieve you from duty in the East Watch. Andang, do you have any sort of persuasion skill?
I just happen to have a persuasion skill that I thought I had that I don't have. So
That you don't have. You
I have
can
inspiration.
try. How would you leverage that?
Just trying to inspire him to a greater good, to help out people in actual need, because clearly I've been going on all these adventures and able to really help people instead of just being on patrol.
Right. So what do you say? Make the roll.
Sorry, you're breaking up. What'd you say?
Am I still breaking up? From my end, everything's fine. What do you say exactly to inspire, as you said, and then make the roll? And we'll see how they respond to it.
To be clear, is this in front of everybody else?
This,
Of course,
everyone
in
else
front
is
of everybody
still.
else.
Because that would be kind of weird to be in front of the other rangers trying to persuade a guy to be joining the rest of our party, if that makes sense.
Wait, so when you say inspire, you mean you want them? So Torthan wants to help you, wants to go with you.
Mm-hmm.
Arahant isn't sure if you should relieve him of, like, grant him leave, essentially, to go off with you guys, or to let you all go back to their super secret hideout. Which one are you trying to persuade him to do? the hideout, or to go somewhere else and let Torthan stay with you?
I'm trying to persuade Torthan to go elsewhere and stay with us. We're trying to persuade those in power.
Okay. So you're not asking to be led to Estildine?
Well, I assume if Torthan goes with us, then he will be able to convince them to let us go to Esteldin.
Okay. Okay, so for now you're just rolling for Torthan to go with you, and then whether you go to Estildine or not is a separate challenge later.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was confusing, but you're breaking up, so I guess I didn't hear everything. Anyway, we're continuing on. So, like, I just tell him, you know, we were so much more effective earlier on when we were back defending Breeland. We were able to do so much good. If you come with me, you'll be able to make a real impact again.
I want to come with you, Andang. It's him you have to persuade.
So it would seem. So do you want me to roll for that already, or continue?
Yeah, sure. We'll see. Use your inspiration. We'll see if the bromance between you and Torthan. Yeah. It's fun. I was gonna set the difficulty at 3, but you met it. So good job. Okay. I don't want to get in between you two. Clearly, you have some history, and you do well together.
Did you ever know that you're my inspiration?
And then it starts to have a random twitch again for some reason that might be Dwarven induced.
Torthan, go ahead and accompany these guys. I'll work with Finn Halbarad if he's at the camp and not off doing whatever he does. This is all going to have to go in my report.
This is going to be a pretty long report.
Man, I do not
Who
want to
said
be a
that?
ranger.
Sometimes I
I have
hear.
to go into his report.
Sometimes it just sounds like the leaves are saying something, but you know.
Was there anything else? If not, I think it's going to be about time to pack it in.
We were wondering if you had any information on either the Hillman or the Storf or anything like that.
We know that the Hillmen set fires to the farms in the North Downs. We do not know where they come from, where they're going, what their motivations are. Is there anything that
Maybe
you know about these?
Try not shooting first and ask questions. I don't know. Leave one of them alive to maybe answer.
Would you mind if we interrogated your?
Yes, I mind.
You're not in this conversation.
She keeps making comments from all the way across the field. I'm just saying.
Can you roll?
I mean, and Arahan, for his part, he's just getting inspiration to ask these things from. He's just coming up with.
Can you roll a D2 real quick for me, Gray? Andang decides to. So, well, we actually did find this armor, and we're trying to find if anyone knew anything of what it meant. And Andang pulls out of the bag one of the pieces of armor.
Oh, good idea.
And then closes it up again, and then basically says, "Do you know anything about what these symbols mean, or anything?"
Hold on. That tickles me.
If you had rolled a one, I would have. If you had rolled a one, I would have not said anything. But anyway, I guess the Grieve.
Okay. So that has the Arana symbol on it. So Arohan and Torthan both look at it, and I've not seen this symbol before. Have you, Torthan? No, not this symbol. I know that Renio Lind had filed a report to Saradan about some ceremonial piece of armor that the Kretha tribe was expecting, but I don't think they ever received it. Is this what they were talking about?
It's possible.
Man, Rangers and their reports.
I wish Sarissa was here because I want to reply to it in character, but I can't. Or not Maven, Sarissa. So what's your reaction to it? Like they have no idea what's going on.
I just say that it's possible that this might be the same symbol. Yeah.
Is this what are you a set of armor that has this symbol on it and you have to collect all the pieces and waiting somewhere? I used to tell tales like
scavenger hunt all over Middle Earth.
It's possible, I suppose.
We don't have time for scavenger hunts. We're on patrol. We have hillmen to find, goblins to scout out, reports to file. We're actually very busy.
Gray, could you mute your video just so that we can work on bandwidth?
Mute my video?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
you
turn
have
off
to-
camera button up at the top.
Camera button at the top.
Oh,
That's the-
okay. Oh, I'm guessing I cut out again then.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
What was the last thing I said?
Everybody's level 17, and we all have match guys.
Honestly, when I said possibly, I thought I heard something, but I might have misheard that. So if you could repeat the last thing of that from the second possibly.
We're very busy on the East Watch. We don't have time for scavenger hunts. We have hillmen to find, goblins to track down, reports to file.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I wouldn't even want to go on a scavenger hunt and collect more armor, you know?
That's totally not what we're doing.
Torthan, well, I'm sure it'll be an adventure. So, are we leaving now? As I understand, and he turns to Arahan, they're getting ready to wrap up and head back to you-know-where. Apparently, I'm not supposed to say its name in front of you.
Right, yeah, the you-know-where place. Yeah, it's probably a good time to leave if you're ready. By the way, do you know any Hillman language at all? Like, do you know any terminology or?
Do they communicate in smoke signals?
Probably, yeah. We think more hand gestures, but we're still trying to figure that out.
I've been trying to understand whether there's any pattern to the smoke pattern from the fires that they're starting, but I haven't made any progress whatsoever on that fort. Mincham was our linguist, but he ran off somewhere and I don't know what happened to him.
That's actually a good question. What made you start to think this might be possible?
The signal fires, you mean?
Yeah, the pattern that you might have noticed.
Well, the reports that I file were for the locations of the raids that we were investigating. I was just trying to determine if there was any pattern to the location. And then as we arrived at the location, I would try to understand the smoke. They seem to be very well organized, but they didn't seem to communicate with each other a lot when we came upon them. If we can get more data on this, then of course I would.
That's because
Yeah.
we have different dialects.
Well, I think we'd better head out. I'll let my party know what's going on.
Excellent. I'll grab my things and come join you. Farewell, Arahan. Perhaps we shall meet again. Yes, of course. I'll include your departure in my report.
Honestly, as I see Andang and the Rangers separate off, I'll chat with Wrathy and Greenstone, and I'll head over and see what's going on.
So you came back to where I
Yep.
would tell everyone else? Okay, because I was going to head over towards you first. All right.
Okay.
So I just relay
Yeah.
everything,
As-
what happened without mentioning Estelle Din to the rest of the group.
I mean, Torthan already spilled the beans.
But I do
But,
say the place and wink a lot when saying.
Yeah, as you're returning,
Do you have
there's like a
something
cry.
in your eye?
Sure.
Is it like a big pizza pie?
It just started when sometimes I get these twitches when I think that people are saying things behind my back.
I hear that happens a lot around minstrels.
Or dwarves.
The dust in the mines.
Yeah, definitely. Just have to clear it out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guylantus appeared next to you, and then as you're done with
He
this part of the
appeared?
he just apparates, and no, this is he and some other rangers. You notice everyone in the camp is just taking down tents. They're packing up. They're splashing water and they're putting out the fires and covering up the soot. And then so Granite says, "You're gonna have to move now. We've got places to go, and they don't include the likes of you."
Yeah, no problem. We're already getting ready to be on our way.
Good. The sooner you're gone, the sooner we're out of each other's hair.
Yeah, and that'd be great.
Agreed. I think that's the first thing we've agreed on all this time.
Did your mother never teach you any manners?
He looks at you, looks down. I never knew my mother.
Well,
So the
that
answer to that question
explains
is
a lot.
no, then.
And he just I think he might even just spit on the ground, rub it the toe of his boot, and then just stalk away angrily.
Great. I made the ranger cry.
You would not believe the reports they make on that guy.
Crothy sort of taps you on the shoulder, Carve. So are they letting us follow them back to their place, or are we gonna have to follow them back to their place?
It sounds like, based on the goals of the Dwarven party and the other party, we now have a ranger guide back to the place, air quotes, where it sounds like we should be able to get more information about Master Ulduf, as well as more information about the other things that are going on in the region. And if we're really lucky, there'll be some goblin heads to bash in along the way.
What about our mission?
Finally, if this is on our way to our mission,
There's a
we
mission.
might be able to find out more information.
Yeah, the mission is we're trying to get Clabber back to his family, but hopefully by going to see the Rangers at their place, complete with air quotes.
I'm getting the impression that the Rangers don't want us visiting their place.
Of course they don't. They're rangers. They're secretive. They're sneaky-ish.
We've been given permission, though, to go to their place finally.
Are you sure? Because that's not what that conversation sounded like.
ask forgiveness and permission in this case. in any case, there's a dwarven emissary that's missing, and there's knowledge that needs to be gained, and it could be that this whole Hellman thing is tied up in a bigger plan, and it would be in the Rangers' best interest to know more about the bigger plan of the Hellman. So I say, let's go for it.
And it's possible that they might have some sort of better directions than what we've currently been following to get Clapper back to his family.
Here.
Clapper shrugs by the
nothing
fire.
about this, but
I imagine Clapper just giving the thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah.
He has no idea what's going on. He's just like, oh.
Like he hears his name and probably has figured out what family means at this point. So
Okay.
yeah, okay.
all right. So was there a formal vote and I just lost?
Your cooking was great, by the way, Pineleaf. Best meal I've had
At
in a long
least
time.
something worked out.
Well, what do you have? What are we doing that you're objecting to, Pineleaf? We're going to be going to hunt goblins. I'm not hunting goblins, but you guys are more than welcome to bash in some goblin skulls along the way.
I mean, we're going in the right direction, and we don't know where we need to go
How do you
after
know
that.
we're going in
so-
the right direction if you don't know where it's at yet?
Exa-
Well,
we need to
headed
figure that
someplace
out.
where we can potentially get answers to see if we're going
East.
in the right direction. So
Going east. Ish.
You're saying that that place is to the east, even though we're talking to the East Guard.
Yeah.
Therefore, their central place would be at a central place, which
Which
would
would be west of here.
It's. I thought we already confirmed that it would be to the east of where we were at.
no,
You know, the Hobbit has a point. It's a good thing we've got a ranger to help us out.
Because we already. I thought I already asked that if it was on the way, and then it was. Anyway.
Well, I was thinking that maybe that could be the case, but I'm not exactly sure. No.
You asked Carve. You didn't ask any of the Rangers that.
Good to know.
the Rangers don't know where we're going either, so they're not going to have
Yeah.
an answer for us one way or the other.
Basically, we're lost without actually being lost, and need to figure out where we need to go.
So basically, where we are right now, GM, is in relation to the game map. Are we in the eastern side of the North Downs upper region?
You're in a place that technically wouldn't be on the map, but it'll be to like the southeast of Estel. It'd be like if you could climb up in the game to like the forested hills overlooking Dol Dinan. It'd be somewhere in that area.
Okay.
So player knowledge, not character knowledge. Estel
Right.
Dinan would be northwest.
North then.
Yeah.
North and to the west. All right. That's kind of where I thought
I
we
mean,
were.
It's a maybe
Well-
I might be giving you a bad description now because you are definitely closer to Esteldean than to Dol Dinan on that map.
Okay. Well, in my brain, I had us somewhere north of the Elven encampment.
No.
But now I realize we're on the other side of the mountain range, since
Yeah.
finally you've just pointed out the error of my thinking. So we're actually more north of Ninharn, kind of on the eastern side of that mountain range.
But based on Andang's knowledge, he thinks this is on the right way to go.
Boy, ending.
What we are is really, really lost.
Well, based on Andang's knowledge of what Carve told him. So it's our
Well,
navigator.
considering how these dwarves that I'm with set out from Othrakar, which is on the other side of the mountain range, for this place that we're going to, and I found them down here, you know they were really lost.
Again, what we are is really, really lost.
What else is new?
Well, I know that if we travel in a northwesterly direction, we'll get back to Othrakar. I just don't know where Estilden is per se.
And we have a ranger guide to help us try to find out where we need to go. At least get us back to where we can reorient ourselves.
Right, because those guys totally know where everybody's going.
Sure. There was a...
I assume he at least knows the way back to Esteldin, and then we can figure out our way from there.
Alright, sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Bellandora raises a good point. In this most recent discussion, you seem to have forgotten that there is a ranger who knows which direction Estildine is in.
We knew that. We know that the ranger knows where
Okay.
that place is. We're just all trying to figure it on our own, but I figured there'd
Okay.
be a ranger guide, so we're cool.
All right. Is this your talk of heading in a northerly direction to try to find it? And
Gotcha.
okay. So yeah, like Torthan saunters up at this point. He's got like a light pack, and his bow and quiver is slung over his shoulders, and he has a short sword strapped to his waist. Well, I'm ready to go. Which way are we going? You said you were heading east. Is that correct?
That's our plan, yeah.
All right. Lead the way. I think he. Yeah. In character, out of character.
No, this is in character.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ending.
Yes.
Do you think we can figure out where that place is? And if not, can we ask to go to that place? Or are we going to have to guess?
What do you think would be best, Carve?
Well, if we're going east, I don't think we're going to find that place.
Well, what's your plan? So your plan with the dwarves is definitely to go to the place, right?
Well, we need to find Master Aldulf.
I think right now that's definitely the more pressing mission.
I look over at the ranger and I'm like, would you know anything about where Master Aldulf would be building any kind of construction for the rangers?
Oh, Master Aldulf, the Moonfist clan, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
That wasn't him just now in the camp. That's not him over there, is it?
No, actually, we are members. Well, they are members of the Moonfist clan, looking for him.
I seem to recall that at the place, as you seem to be calling it, there was a Master Dwarf who aided in its construction, and I believe he's still there now, but I never met him personally.
Fantastic. Let's go there.
Wait. He looks at Ending. I thought we told Arakhan we weren't going there.
That's what we told him.
Corvette suppresses the laugh.
Like once the initial shock is over, Torthan just like grins and like, I see that your time adventuring has changed you, Ending, and I can't say it's for the worse.
Slow clap from Carve.
Right then,
Yeah,
I
sure.
assume
Let's
that.
chalk it up to the adventuring.
I can't say that his present company hasn't assisted either. Anyway.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
She says that all the time.
What exactly do you study anyway?
History and lore. Hello, I
Body
said
language.
I mean, do you have a specialty?
Tone.
that. Seriously, Rangers, you guys do not listen.
Communication. Sometimes she studies clothing, movement of clothing, bulges in clothing, belts, pouches.
We get the idea, Carve.
see.
She's a real fashionista, you may say.
Yes, I am.
Oh, I was going a completely different direction with that description.
Yes, well, we thought we were going a
I'm
completely different
shocked.
direction earlier as well. So
I'm shocked that you would besmirch her character. I would
Well-
love a ranger of the Northmen.
You seem to be very diplomatic in your description, perhaps a bit over diplomatic. I wasn't sure what to make of it. I'm glad that we're all on the same page now, as it were. I take it the dwarves will be joining us then, since it is their Master Aldulf that we're looking for.
I look over at Greenstone and Harathi. Is this acceptable with you all?
Aye. And if they have a problem with us following, we can take care of ourselves on that front too.
Need I remind you where you were when I found you?
And it's probably not the best that we take care of ourselves when we're dealing with rangers.
This will be okay for a moment. For a time.
I'm sure we were on the right path.
Okay. Well then let's try this path for a while.
Yeah. Hogni like stage whispers to Muli like, "Quiet, Muli. You're embarrassing yourself."
It's fantastic.
So, yeah. So you head off. Torthan's leading the way, I guess. So Torthan asks, like, are we going to try to get there before the rest of the Eastwatch does, or are we going to try to follow them, or?
It would probably be best if we kind of got there before anybody else that knew that we weren't going there.
I see. Okay. The trade-off, of course, would be that for speed, we'll have to leave the forest behind, so we might be exposed if there's any. Please pardon me, if there are any hillmen watching, or if there are any goblins or orcs keeping watch on the tree line, we may be exposed if we take the faster route.
But we do have a lot of dwarves with us.
Which is why we will probably be noticed.
We'll be noticed either way.
Fair enough. Right, let us make haste then. And he sets off at like a light trot pace.
And Andang presses the epic battle make haste button.
Okay, just because we're going to be exposed doesn't mean you can start blowing horns.
Well, that was the epic battle make haste sound effect. That wasn't an actual game thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell the guys we're not going to sing a marching song this time.
And no whistling.
No whistling, no marching song, no songs about digging in the mines. We're not going to dig any holes today. We're just going to march.
That's my favorite song. I could listen to that all day.
Some
that
can.
one. I am a dwarf and a digging.
No, you're not a dwarf. You're a human.
It's very popular in dwarf crowds, though.
Oh, I bet it is.
Oh, so you're a minstrel then? I'm Harathi, Moonfist. I don't think Carv has introduced any of us.
My name's Sarissa. I'm a minstrel who also happens to be a scholar of history and lore.
I see. What sort of dwarf crowds have you played for?
I've done Thorin's Hall a couple of times.
Oh, wow. I think Otar has made his way up there before. Otar, what's your thoughts on Thorin's Hall? It's all right, I suppose. I still prefer our mines better. Yes, of course. You should come by Othrikar, Sarissa. So when all of this excitement is over, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. So I think rather than start something new right now, we'll just sort of as the camera pans over like the trees and we get the long shot of you proceeding northwards out of the tree line. To be continued, we start hearing like a Lotro horn and pipes version of Diggy Diggy Hole playing. And then we cut to, or like we wipe. It's like, it looks like similar hills, but all of the grass is dead. like the air itself seems to be like a little bit reddish. There are fires, and there's garish wooden stakes planted in the ground all over the place. And we just sort of pan over to just a vast valley, and there's lots of cook fires, campfires, forge fires, and just goblins and orcs crawling all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And then our camera sort of zooms in on this one hill where there's a giant troll who has all sorts of like ornamental bone armor and such. And he's standing over like a couple of uruks who are at a table. And he asks, How is the front proceeding, my lieutenants? And they say, everything is going according to plan. Good. And then he turns, and the last thing that the camera sees in the pan is a bunch of scaffolding, and we can see that there's a bunch of like in Lotra they're called like the pale folk. They're like the things that are even smaller than goblins. And there's a bunch of them as laborers, and they're just constructing some giant in progress, looks like a siege machine being built. And then I think we cut to black.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gray, for putting all that together.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So now the party's reunited, and it feels so good. So we'll be on our way in the coming weeks, and looking forward to them. So we will be back in 2 weeks for the next episode of Tales of the Free Folk. But till then, thank you everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you again real soon for more Tales of the Free Folk.